Today we're looking at opening a bank account in Austria. Now, whether you're looking for private banking, business banking, wealth management, or simply interested in diversifying your savings, opening a bank account in Austria could be well worth exploring. In this video, we'll discuss the available options in Austria, which types of people and companies are best suited to bank here, the benefits, and how you can get started opening accounts. But before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get alerted every time we post new non-resident banking opportunities. Now, to help get started with banking in Austria, we have a free non-resident banking starter guide. It's designed to help non-resident and foreigners open bank accounts. So don't forget to download your copy using the link in the description below. Now, much like all banking jurisdictions, opening a bank account in Austria is not going to be for everyone. Depending on your goals, the banking services that you need, the amount you're looking to deposit, and even where you're from, there might be better options elsewhere. So, at the end of this video, we'll also share a few alternative jurisdictions for you to consider that have similar attributes. This way you can get a taste of what else is out there so you can make the best choice based on your banking needs. Now, let's take a look at opening a bank account in Austria today. So, for decades, Austria was famous for banking secrecy, and many considered it a tax haven. On top of that, the country was politically stable, in the EU, had attractive estate planning structures, and didn't have any inheritance or wealth taxes. Plus, Austrian banking secrecy was literally written into the country's constitution. And many non-residents liked that it was a cash society and privacy was a virtue embedded into the hearts and minds of people and bankers that live here. For years, the Austrians took their banking secrecy really seriously. Austria also saw how the Swiss were cashing in on banking secrecy and wanted in on the action. So Austria took the concept of an anonymous bank account to an entirely new level, creating the now infamous Austrian Sparbuch bank account. But we'll get into more of that later. The point is, Austrian banking has a long history of attracting non-residents. But the private banking industry here is much more low profile than, say, Switzerland. This is because Austrian private banking has traditionally been dominated by big domestic players, not big international names. So you won't see Austrian private banks with offices and subsidiaries scattered all over the globe. Also, keep in mind that thanks to new and stricter banking regulations, banking secrecy is a thing of the past. In fact, Austria now has a beneficial ownership registry that even lists Austrian and foreign UBOs of Austria true hand arrangements, but more on these in a minute. Now, why do people and companies bank in Austria? Well, here are a few of the reasons why someone might choose Austria over other jurisdictions. First reason, safer banks in Austria. If you're from Russia, the CIS, Central or Eastern Europe, or a country prone to civil unrest, exchange controls, shaky banks, or corruption, Austria is a safe haven for you. Certain Austrian banks may be safer than your home country. Austrian bankers won't steal your money. Fiscally responsible Austrian banks won't implode overnight. And there is rule of law. So this makes Austrian banking attractive to some people. Another reason is when it comes to accepting non-residents. Certain Austrian banks accept non-residents and foreign companies. So for those who are having difficulty opening accounts elsewhere in Europe, Austria could be a nice backup option. Next is the Austrian Privatstiftung. First, Austria is one of the few quasi-respectable countries that offer private foundations. Introduced in 1993, an Austrian Privatstiftung private foundation is an asset protection and estate planning structure like those available in Liechtenstein and Panama. Then there is the Austrian Treuhand. Now, Austria offers Treuhand accounts, which are essentially an Austrian trust managed by a custodian. Treuhands are governed by civil contracts, are not regulated in law, and are based on the autonomy of the contracting parties. Okay, and let's take a look at Austrian tax advantages. Combining such structures with Austria's zero wealth tax, zero inheritance tax, and an abundance of double tax agreements, or DTAs, to reduce withholding taxes on royalties, interest, and dividends is another reason why Austria is a favored jurisdiction for some groups. Next, Austrian economic and political stability. Of course, it doesn't hurt that Austria offers political and economic stability. Being a member of the European Union, it doesn't have the stigma of an offshore jurisdiction. And when you're doing business, the reputation and risk level associated with your banking jurisdiction is really important. That said, if you're not interested in Austrian structures or investing in the Austrian stock market, then you may want to bank elsewhere. Remember, if you're able to meet the opening requirements of private banks in Austria, you'll probably be able to meet requirements of banks elsewhere, possibly even in more prestigious jurisdictions. With this in mind, let's take a look at who might want to consider opening a bank account in Austria. Now, given the availability of stronger banking hubs with similar account opening requirements, it's fair to say that the banking clients best suited to Austria are those interested in investing in Austria directly, doing business there, or looking to set up Austrian structures. The first group that comes to mind are clients with an Austrian Privatstiftung or Treuhand. If you already have an Austrian Privatstiftung or Treuhand, it makes sense that you would look at opening a bank account in Austria. Austrian banks understand these structures, know how to conduct the due diligence on them without getting frazzled, and are comfortable onboarding them, especially Austrian private banks. In fact, if you try to open accounts with these structures in non-European banking hubs, you may struggle to find bankers that have even heard about them before. Next are clients considering Austrian Privatstiftung or Treuhand. If you're considering an Austrian Privatstiftung or Treuhand for your asset protection or estate planning needs, it's always good to consider what banking options are available for that structure before setting it up. This is true regardless of whether you're considering a foundation in Austria, Liechtenstein, Panama, or even Liberia. Yes, they exist, don't use them. With this in mind, if you are considering an Austrian Privatstiftung or Treuhand, be sure to speak with a qualified advisor who understands the specifics of your situation and any relevant DTAs before making a decision. Next, clients looking to access Austrian investments. If you're looking to invest in the Vienna Stock Exchange, then opening a bank account in Austria can reduce transfer fees, exchange fees, and give you access to supplementary research and trading resources. That said, most clients can access the same securities using interactive brokers and similar online trading platforms. If you do decide to open a bank account for the purposes of trading Austrian securities, make sure you confirm the fees that will be charged by the bank before opening accounts, as this can vary widely and is often negotiable. On the other hand, if your reason for opening a bank account in Austria is to invest in Austrian real estate, then a local bank will likely be required. In most cases, non-residents looking to acquire Austrian real estate will tend to use structures in order to reduce personal liabilities and provide for easy transfers in the future. And Treuhands serve as a common structure for these transactions. Next, clients with businesses active in Austria and surrounding countries. Of course, if you have a business that is operating in Austria, has suppliers in Austria, or has customers in Austria, opening a bank account in Austria might also make sense. This is also true if you have operations in surrounding countries and prefer to bank in a more stable jurisdiction. For instance, it's not uncommon for Central and European companies to set up joint ventures or have business relationships in Austria and then bank from Vienna. Next are non-residents interested in private banking and wealth management. Much like other European banking hubs, Austria offers a personalized approach to private banking and wealth management. Additionally, certain banks here are very in tune to the needs of non-residents, and some even cater to clients from Russia, CIS, and Central and European countries. If that's you, Austria would certainly be a jurisdiction to consider. However, before rushing to open accounts in Austria, do your homework and carefully examine the bank's financials and check for red flags. Some Austrian banks have notoriously poor financials. Then there are other banks who take on high-risk clientele that makes them vulnerable to massive compliance failures and scandals. Likewise, it's good to shop around and consider fee structures and which banks offer the particular banking services that you need. After all, while Austria does have several excellent banks, not all banks are created equal, and some can get quite pricey. Now, what are some alternatives to opening a bank account in Austria? Well, Austria is one of many European banking jurisdictions that cater to non-residents seeking personalized attention and services. With that in mind, it's important to consider the other alternatives before opening a bank account in Austria. So, here are a few other options. The first, private banking in Switzerland. If you're looking for private banking and wealth management, it's kind of hard to beat Switzerland. Depending on the type of account you're looking to open in Austria, it's possible that your minimum deposit will be sufficient to open accounts with top Swiss banks as well. Next are structures and banking in Liechtenstein. If you're attracted to Austria for Privatstiftung or Treuhands, you may want to consider Liechtenstein as well. Next, private banking and real estate via Monaco. If your preferred investment is real estate and you're looking for secure investments, favorable financing, and sought-after real estate, Monaco could be worth considering. Additionally, many private banks in Monaco will offer creative financing options for property, although this can sometimes be limited to the French Riviera and surrounding areas. Next, understand all your banking options. Needless to say, this is just a small and very simplistic taste of the many options that are available to you in the world of private banking, wealth management, and structuring. And of course, opening a bank account in Austria is certainly one of the options that you could consider. But if you're interested in finding out which specific jurisdictions, banks, and bankers are best suited for your personal banking objectives, then we'd be happy to help you get started. Now, if you need help finding the best bank to open accounts within Austria, want to know which banks will actually accept you, or just aren't sure where to turn, we can help. All you have to do is join our flagship service, GlobalBanks Insider. With GlobalBanks Insider, you'll get instant access to our entire archive of banking intelligence reports, access to the GlobalBanks database, home to more than 250 banks from 50 plus countries, including detailed bank profiles, client preferences, and a whole lot more. Finally, you'll also get real-time analyst support from our team of experts, ready to answer your most pressing banking questions and to make suggestions on which banks in Austria and elsewhere will best meet your objectives. To get started, just click the link in the description below to learn more about GlobalBanks Insider. And before signing off, don't forget to hit subscribe so you get alerted every time we share new banking opportunities. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.